My friend, you are one lucky son of a bitch. You know, I actually envy you. What? You don't believe me? This toy? Well, you can't fake this. It has taken me weeks to finish this, and it is finally ready. And it's all for you. Oh, come on now. Don't be like that. It's gonna be fun. Just you wait. Ooh. Happy birthday!
Lucas Baker, easily one of the most psychopathic Resident Evil characters, and not just because of the events that unfolded in 2014. Unlike the rest of his family, he's been committing these depraved acts ever since he was a child. So sit back and get comfortable as we delve into the extremely psychopathic crimes of Lucas Baker. Lucas was born as the son to Jack and Marguerite Baker in the early 1990s, and he was somewhat of a prodigy, being smarter than nearly every other kid at the time and winning many awards for machinery that he built for school talent shows. Lucas, unlike his parents, was already mentally unstable long before the 2014 hurricane incident. This is made extremely apparent when reading Lucas's journal that reads, "Mom took me to the hospital in town. They took a photo of my head with the weird machine, and then she bought me a 259-piece puzzle from the toy store. Stupid Oliver keeps teasing me. You're a crazy head." I lied to Oliver. I told him to come over for my birthday party, and then I shut him in the attic from the outside via remote control. He kept crying, "Let me out, Lucas." I changed the remote control just so stupid Zoe can't go into the attic. I melded it with one of my Inventors Contest trophies. Now she'll never find it. Oliver stopped his yelling, but sometimes I can still hear knocking from above. It really stinks, and some weird juice is dripping from the ceiling. Anyway, since I had time, I changed the remote control trophy again. Now it'll be shiny, even at night. After this incident, rumors would start to go round describing Lucas as a bad seed.
A lot of bad rumors about their son, Lucas. Bad seed, apparently.
In 2014, a giant hurricane would cause a shipwreck in the bayous near the Baker residence, and Jack and Lucas would go out to investigate and search for any survivors. Lucas came back with the unconscious Mia Winters and set her in Zoe's trailer, while Jack came back with the unconscious little girl in a black dress known as Evelyn. He took her up to Lucas's old room while Zoe got her some clothes to change into. While Zoe went upstairs to get Evelyn changed into some new clothes, the power went out and Evelyn woke up and said, "They're mine now," before disappearing out of thin air. Zoe would go downstairs to find an unconscious Lucas laying on the kitchen floor with the dinner table tipped over right next to him. After this, Zoe would travel back upstairs to the bathroom to find her mother, Marguerite, standing at the bathtub, and when she approached her to ask what was going on, she turned around and her face looked like it was infested with bugs. And just when it seemed like it was all over for Zoe, Jack came back and risked his own life to save her, pushing Marguerite off of Zoe and telling Zoe to go get some rope. But when she returned with the rope, however, it was already too late and Jack had been infected and he started attacking her. Giving her no other option, Zoe retreated and found the 3 dog head keys and left out of the front door to her camper where she would find an unconscious Mia Winters. On the way there, however, she would witness Jack dragging Lucas across the floor saying, "Come meet your new little sister," implying that Lucas was infected during this incident. While the rest of the Bakers were just helpless victims in the situation, Lucas just saw it as an opportunity to live out his sadistic fantasies building death traps all around the barn and making sadistic games with presumably no way to win, and if you lose, you get burnt alive. Though Lucas was infected for some time, he was eventually met by agents of the Connections and given a sample of the serum in exchange for weekly updates on how Evelyn was controlling his family and their behavior. And because of Lucas's already extremely deranged mindset, he had no problem fitting in and pretending to be a part of the psychotic family. After quite a bit of time and a lot of updates, Lucas eventually became the head researcher for the Connections on the mold, but this was only after he locked the other head researchers up in a room with the molded, leaving them to be murdered brutally. On June 1st, 2017, a paranormal investigations group known as the Sewer Gators would go to investigate the Baker house looking for any supernatural activity. When the TV show's producer Andre Strickland would go missing as they were filming the episode, Clancy and Pete would begin looking for him around the Baker residence. Clancy eventually found Andre, turning him around just to reveal he was impaled by a metal pole and killed. Andre's dead body falling onto Clancy would knock him onto the ground just before being rendered unconscious by Jack Baker. After this, Clancy would be put through hell for the next couple of days, but still managing to conquer everything that came his way. That is, until Lucas put him through one last sadistic game, which managed to end his life. After beating Hoffman at a game of life or death blackjack, Lucas promised to let Clancy free, but of course he would not keep this promise and he would put Clancy through one last sadistic game. In this game, Clancy would have to find a way to put the candle on the cake without the flame going out, and when he succeeded in doing so, the cake blew up and the entire room he was in caught on fire, burning him to death. After this, Lucas would lock Mia up in the basement prison cell, deeming her to be too crazy and dangerous. Around this time is where Mia's husband, Ethan Winters, would come to the Baker residence in search of his missing wife. The first time that Ethan and Lucas would meet would be at the family dinner after Ethan regains consciousness after being knocked out by Jack Baker. Ethan will not eat their food, so Lucas gets frustrated by this and throws the plate at his face. After this, Jack grabs Lucas's arm and chops it off, and then goes over to Ethan and tries to force feed him with a knife rather than a spoon. But then the phone rings and they figure it might be the cops, so they all go their separate ways. The next time the two would interact is when Lucas calls Ethan to inform him that he is holding Zoe and Mia hostage alongside the serum, and that the only way Ethan could save them is by playing along with Lucas's sadistic games. So Ethan complies. Going back into the house and entering the dissection room, Ethan finds a sign that reads, "Prove you're a real man. Stick your hand down the pig's throat," by the dead officer that Jack had killed earlier that night. Which Ethan does, and by doing so he retrieves the snake key which he could use to enter Lucas's room to get the blue keycard to enter the barn. After obtaining both keycards and entering Lucas's barn, Ethan is forced by Lucas to fight two fat moldeds which throw up acid vomit every time that they are damaged, and are extremely durable. Lucas watches the fight in almost 100% certainty that the fat moldeds will kill Ethan, but then is extremely shocked to find that Ethan actually killed one of them. Not willing to give up yet, Lucas puts all of his hope into the last fat molded just to watch it die before he could even finish his thought. Extremely impressed with Ethan's skills, yet still confident that this would work, Lucas put Ethan through the same sadistic game that he put Clancy through. Only this time, Lucas was outsmarted by Ethan, so as a last-ditch effort he threw a bomb into the room with Ethan in hopes that it would kill him. But Ethan used it to throw into the hole in the wall, making a path for him to save Mia and Zoe, while Lucas made his retreat to the salt mines, never to be seen again by Ethan. At some point in time, Lucas started selling the data on Evelyn to a third-party company rather than the connections. At some point in time, Chris Redfield and the rest of Blue Umbrella got intel that Lucas was hiding out in the salt mines and selling data on Evelyn to third-party companies. Pulling up at the Baker residence, Chris Redfield and his squad saw a survivor fighting a giant bioweapon known as the E-001. They gave him a weapon with special ammunition to help neutralize the opponent. Once the bioweapon was killed, Bravo Team took Ethan and Mia away to safety as Chris and Alpha Team went into the salt mines in search of Lucas and the 3 missing soldiers. And when Chris went down there, he had no idea what he was in for. Nearly everything down there was a death trap, and every time Chris thought he was about to save one of his soldiers, Lucas would pop up out of nowhere and murder them right in front of him, even going so far as to put a bomb on Chris's wrist, forcing him to dunk his own hand in a barrel of liquid nitrogen to defuse the bomb. Even despite all that, Chris still made it to the room where Lucas was gonna sell all of the data to the third-party companies. But out of nowhere, Lucas just came and started attacking him, but Chris got a good couple shots on him with his pistol, forcing Lucas to mutate into a giant monster. And with all the odds against him, Chris still emerged victorious, putting one last bullet in Lucas's head, thus concluding the psychopathic backstory of Lucas Baker. Well, there you have it, guys, the full backstory of Lucas Baker. If you guys enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing and hitting the like button. It really helps out the channel, and it'll help me get to my goal of 500 subscribers by Halloween. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next episode of Bagels Battle!